Okay, so for this lesson, obviously you want to put your name again, in case you leave behind a paper. And this is lesson 1.2. The topic is adding integers. The date is 9/1/16, and this is period 7. And we have a new essential question for the day, which is on the board, and it's how do we add negative integers? How do we add negative integers? Okay. Our first key concept, and you saw in your book when you previewed, is called additive inverses. So put that on the left. Additive inverses. The book has kind of a lengthy definition, so I will summarize it for you. And that is two numbers, not hashtags, right? Two numbers that are opposites. Two numbers that are opposites. For example, 2 plus a negative 2, those are opposites and they equal 0, just like in your warm-up today. So additive inverses are opposites and they equal 0. They're the same distance away from 0 on a number line. If you want more of a definition, you can look at your book too. Okay, we're going to do a few examples of adding with the negative, adding negative integers but with the same sign. So over here put adding negative integers with the same sign. Example 1. So they both have to be negatives. So we'll go with negative 3 plus, in parentheses, a negative 2. So we have 3 negatives and 2 negatives. That should make 5 negatives. So our answer is negative 5. Three negatives and 2 negatives make negative 5. Example 2. Negative 26 plus a negative 17, in parentheses. A lot of people would go to their calculator because these are bigger numbers, but they might not know how to put negatives into their calculator. But since they're both negative, we know the answer is going to be negative. So just put a negative over here, and then you add the numbers together. So 26 and 17 are 43. They're both negative, so the answer is negative. Okay, and then example 3. Sometimes you'll see in your book they do not use parentheses. They'll just have negative 5 minus 4, something like that. And this always throws people off because they're like, well, does it change it? There's parentheses, there's not parentheses. It doesn't make it any different. You have 5 negatives and you have 4 negatives. If you want, you can rewrite it as a negative 5 plus a negative 4. And it's much easier to see that way that the answer is negative 9. Some people like to do this on a number line. They figure, okay, I'm going to start at negative 5 and I'm going to go back 4 more backwards. So they would get negative 9. Any questions on adding with the same sign? Raise your hand if this is very new to you. You did not see this last year. Raise your hand if you saw a little bit of this last year, maybe. Okay. Was there a question? Was your question? No? Okay, let's go on to adding negative integers with different signs now, but we don't need to rewrite all of that. Just write adding with a different sign. Just write that. Different sign. And we'll do some examples here. So adding with a different sign. So these were both negative. Now we need a positive and a negative. That would be different. So we have example 1. And let's do 9 plus, and then in parentheses, a negative 4. Raise your hand if you think you know the answer to that. If you think you know. Okay, all of you with your hand up, 1, 2, 3, say the answer. Say the answer. 5. Who agrees with 5? Who thinks it's like negative something? Who has no idea? It's actually 5, they're right. It's the same thing as saying 9 minus 4. You don't really need the plus sign. So it is 5. It is 5. Okay, let's look at example 2. We have a negative 9 plus 4. Negative 9 plus 4. Raise your hand if you think you know that one. That one might be easier. Anybody else think they know? Okay, 1, 2, 3, say the answer. Negative 5. That's correct. There are definitely more negatives than there are positives. Can we see that? There's 9 negatives and only 4 positives. Question?
So if there's like a negative sign on the first number, does that mean like
It makes it negative?
yeah?
Yeah, it does. So some teachers, when they teach this, and I like this method, they draw this little thing called a T-chart, and you can too. It's just a plus minus. And what they do, and it's really helpful for learning in the beginning. I wouldn't use it for bigger numbers because it would be really annoying. But for smaller numbers, we can use it. So if I have, I'm going to look at example 2. If I have 9 negatives, then I would write 9 negative signs over here. And you can do this on your paper to remind you. So there's 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I have 4 positives, so I'd do 4 plus signs. And then I would just cross off the things like I have pairs of, right? So I have 4 positives, and I could circle 4 negatives and cross them off. And you can see I have 5 negatives left over. You guys see that? So now that's negative 5. So if you're having a hard time understanding the negative integers, which most people do, this is a really good visual method to use. Let's do another one. Example 3. We have a 5 plus, and then in parentheses, a negative 3. Raise your hand if you know that one. It's not a trick, I promise. Okay, 1, 2, 3, say it.
8.
Uh-oh. I heard 8 and I heard 2. I have 5 positives and I have 3 negatives. What should it be? 2. Good. The plus sign in the middle is throwing you off, I can tell. You're adding 3 negatives to 5. In other words, you're just taking away 3. It's just like the first example up here, right? 9 plus a negative 4 was 5. 5 plus a negative 3 is 2. Okay. Example 4. We have 2 minus 15 plus a negative 2 in parentheses. So now I have 3 terms in there instead of 2. Raise your hand if you think you know the answer. Okay, 1, 2, 3, say it.
11.
I heard 5 and I heard 11. Was there something else said? I heard 15. Did you guys hear anything else? 1. Anything else? Does anybody have any other ideas? I can tell you the right answer has not been said yet. What do you think? Negative 11? What do you think?
I'm gonna say negative 11.
It's not negative 11. What do you think? It's not 13. What do you think? Not 10. What do you think?
11.
Not 11. What do you think? You guys are going to be so mad right now when I show you.
19.
One last guess. What?
I think 19.
Here we go. I have a positive 2 right there, right? Do you guys see the 2? It's a positive?
Yeah.
Everyone agrees. Does everybody also see this negative 2 over here?
Yeah. Oh, I got it. Oh.
15.
Oh, you're so mad. What? Hey, these are additive inverses. Look up here on the very first thing. 2 and a negative 2 is 0, right? Remember that? Remember that 5 minutes ago? Oh, I told you were going to be mad. Okay, so here's what we do next. It's kind of fun. They're called U-tries. So it's basically like I write it, you try it, and then you don't say the answer yet, okay? But I call them something really creative. I call the U-tries U-try. Really creative, right? Okay. So don't say it out loud. You have to write the problem down, even though you're like, I know that. I don't need to write it down. Write it down anyway. Humor me. So this is going to be the first one. 6 plus a negative 7. Don't say it. Just write it down. And then if it makes you feel better, go ahead and raise your hand when you think you know the answer. Just raise your hand when you think you know it. We'll let everybody kind of get there. This is not a trick. Okay, after I count to 3, say the answer. 1, 2, 3.
-1.
Hey, that was pretty good. I heard a lot of negative ones. Okay, so it is -1 because I have 6 positives and I have 7 negatives, so that means I have 1 extra negative. Good job. Let's try another one. Again, same thing. You write it down, raise your hand, but don't talk. Let's try this one. -15 plus 19. Just raise your hand when you think you have it. All right, 1, 2, 3, go.
4.
Mostly I heard 4, and that's right. Because we have 15 negatives and 19 positives, right? So we have more positives than we have negatives. Everyone sees that, right? I hope. Okay, let's try another one. Number 3. 10 plus a negative 12. Some of you guys raised your hands before you even finished writing it because you knew. Okay, 1, 2, 3, say the answer.
-2.
Whoa. That was awesome. I have 10 positives and 12 negatives, so I have 2 extra negatives, right? Let's try another one. I just need to make sure you got it. Let's try this one. -13 plus 18. Raise your hand if you think you know. So I know that you know. That you think you know. 1, 2, 3, say it.
5.
Wow. Super good. Do you want one more?
Yeah.
So make sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you begging for another one?
No.
Ha! I got you. And it's on recording. Okay, I don't know if you're going to get this one, but I'm going to let you try, okay? Because it's called You Try. So let's see. -6 minus 14 plus 6 equals. 3 terms. Lots of hands are going up. Some people are thinking, is this a trick? I don't know. This teacher is strange. She's making us beg for more problems. Okay. What is it? Go.
14.
Raise your hand if you said 14, because I heard that. Raise your hand if you said negative 14. Raise your hand if you said something different. Okay. There's a negative 6 and a positive 6. Oh, those are additive inverses. They make 0, and what's left over? Negative. Don't forget it. What? There's a negative? Same thing. What? Okay, who wants one more just to make sure? Because well, it's half and half, so we'll do one more. I have to flip my paper. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's why you have the back. It's fine. Okay. 5 minus 4. I'll go a little bit easier on you, okay? 5 minus 4 minus 9. It's a little bit easier. Okay? Don't touch. Okay, a lot of you are kind of thinking you know it. So 1, 2, 3, say the answer.
Negative 10. Negative 8.
Oh no. Aha.
What is it? Yes.
Okay, let's look at this one really quick because I thought I made it easier, but no. 5 minus 4 is what? Okay. 1 minus 9 is negative, right? I have 1 positive and 9 negatives. Okay. Who's feeling like really confident? Raise your hand. Like, okay. Who's like, I'm not really confident, but I'm at maybe halfway. And then who's like, I don't know. I need a 3-day weekend. Okay. All right. Raise your hand if you think you need one more to prove that you got it.
That's like 2 people. No.
Here we go. Majority rules. 7.
That was like 2 people.
I'm wondering maybe you don't know how to do this one. Maybe that's what it is. You're afraid. You are afraid of my math problem creations. Okay, we'll try it. Last one. I promise is the last one. So negative 2 hours later. Negative 22 plus 11 minus 10 minus 1. That's it. That's it. 4 terms. That's it. It's the finale.
It's easy.
Be careful. You raised your hand so fast. Be careful.
I got it though.
Careful.
Wait, actually do it?
I don't know. Be careful. Some people raise their hands so fast, I'm afraid you're going to like pull a muscle in your arm.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, most of the hands are up. So when I say go, you'll say it. You'll say the answer. Ready, set, go.
Negative 2. 0. I didn't get it.
Okay, here's what I heard. Raise your hand if you said negative 2. Raise your hand if you said 0. Raise your hand if you said 2. Raise your hand if you said like 11 or 10 or 9 or... Okay, anything I didn't say, raise your hand and tell me what you said. What do you think?
Negative 22.
What do you think?
Negative 22.
What do you think?
Negative 22.
What do you think? It's starting to like sound like a pattern here. And so let me show you. Let me just show you. What is right here? Negative 10 and a negative 1?
Negative 11.
Oh. So I have a positive 11 and a negative 11, so those are additive inverses, and the answer is negative. Oh.
Yes! I knew it.
Ah.